Live.
Hey, hello! Welcome to Drunk Doctor Who. This is episode number 41.
Season 3.
Season
something. What are we drinking today, Heather?
Captain Morgan, spice rum, the regular stuff. And you?
Fireball and stevia Coke.
Stevia. I don't know who Stevia is, but alright.
Sweetener.
Alright,
Stevia is a very sweet person.
Today we're doing Web of Fear. This is the 41st serial of Doctor Who.
Apologize for last week.
Did you watch the video?
That's right. It was a pretty rough video to watch. Wow. 2 hours of just sickly drunk. My evil twin showed up and drank himself sick.
You are the evil twin.
Now I'm back.
Oh my gosh.
That was I was making up for lost time.
It was pretty bad.
This week I'm making up for lost sleep. I can't stay awake.
Alright. But anyway, we watched
Bryant died.
Brian Kobe, yeah.
Brian Kobe?
Kobe Bryant. Yeah, Kobe Bryant.
I forgot my notes.
Go get your notes.
Yeah, well, I knocked over all your notes.
Those aren't my notes.
Whose notes?
Well, that's my notes.
Those are your notes.
Alright, go get your notes.
Kobe Bryant. Who's gonna play? Well, he was retired, wasn't he?
He was retired.
Yeah.
Great guy, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know.
Mm.
You're the prime.
None of us are guaranteed another day.
I know.
Alright.
Live each day as your last day.
Exactly, that's why we have cookies and rum.
There you go.
Alright, so anyway, Web of Fear. It was the 41st serial of Doctor Who.
To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. Audrey Hepburn said that?
I don't know, never met her.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I hate that movie.
Whoa.
Hate that movie.
Whoa. She is an American treasure.
Was. It's called National Treasure.
I'll be back.
That has, what's his face in it? Alright. Anyway. Nicolas Cage, yeah. Alright, we're going to try to stay on topic today.
The worst actor of our time.
No, I can name at least 5 worse.
He's so bad. The most successful bad actor of our time.
He has an Oscar.
He's successful and awful.
Oddly enough, Kobe Bryant had an Oscar.
For,
some basketball documentary he helped produce.
Oh.
Yeah, alright.
Who's doing the new Space Jam?
I don't know.
LeBron James?
I don't.
Or Kobe Bryant?
Right.
They're making a new Space Jam. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I don't know who's in it.
Alright. Back on topic. You 2 hours last week.
Alright.
Okay. I was too drunk to
I'll
stop.
let you do the thing. I'll do the
Okay.
other thing.
Well, no, you gotta be careful because of this, though. Alright. Okay, so it was 6 episodes from February 3rd, 1968 to March 9th, 1968. The companions were Victoria and Jamie, which still. And the antagonists were the Great Intelligence and the Yeti.
I don't know about great.
Oh, no, he referred to himself as the
okay.
Intelligence. The okay intelligence. The mediocre intelligence.
The great as in the cheese grater. G-R-A-T-E.
No, G-R-E-A-T.
Grating intelligence.
You be careful. Alright. But the Great Intelligence and the Yeti. So anyway, when we last left our intrepid adventurers, they had just escaped Salamander, because Salamander had made the TARDIS take off without closing the door. And the TARDIS...
What a dummy.
Yeah, what a dummy.
How did they even know how to start it?
I think he just kind of figured it out. Or he got Victoria to help show him. Or Jamie. Okay. Alright, so Salamander fell out of the TARDIS, which we...
For the first time ever.
The first time I ever saw my falls of the TARDIS, and it's not the last.
Oh, what? Oh.
Not the last.
No, that's my next question.
No. Much later on, the TARDIS kicks out the Doctor in the same fashion.
He's stuck in time and space, which is not a great place to be, apparently.
No. Yeah. So, hey. All right. So anyway. No, that's for you put a lamp here, and that's for the cord for the lamp.
Oh.
All right. So the Doctor, Jamie, and Victoria are all struggling to hold on to the console and the wall, and Jamie manages.
Very awkward scene.
Yeah, very awkward scene. Jamie just manages to get the door closed.
Clutching and grabbing going on.
Well, it's all avuncular, so no big deal. But anyway, so the Doctor, Jamie manages to close the doors closed, they're safe. And then the Doctor's like, well, okay. And he makes a gadget. Because
Sonic screwdriver.
No, next time. Alright, so he makes a gadget because they get caught up in a web up in space. Something actually ensnares them in a web up in space. Space webs. They look through the scanner and they see through the web. I'm like, what the heck is that? So the Doctor makes this gadget so that when the thing lets him go, it doesn't go where the thing wants him to go. It goes about a mile away. But they end up back on Earth, London, of course, in 1965. Or 67, whatever the present day was, 68. And turns out that there's nobody there. They wind up in the underground, the British subway system, and there's nobody there. And they can't figure out why there's nobody there. And they go up to the surface, and there's still nobody there. There's no traffic, there's no cars, there's nothing. So they go back down, and they see some soldiers going by. And Jamie and Victoria follow the soldiers. The Doctor goes the other way to see what this cable goes they were laying out. Turns out they're going to blow up part of the tunnel. The soldiers capture Jamie and Victoria. The Doctor gets trapped by some Yeti. And Jamie and Victoria get hauled into headquarters where there's a guy there named Knight.
Captain
Knight, yeah.
Captain Knight.
K-N-I-G-H-T. He's in charge, and apparently what's been going on is that the Yetis have shown up because Travers, if you remember the guy Travers from The Abominable Snowman, he had taken one of the Yeti back with him to London, and he had accidentally, after 30-something years, managed to get one of the control spheres working, which triggered the Great Intelligence waking back up, and it took over the Yeti, killed Silverstein, the guy,
the museum
curator. The guy who had the museum,
Julius Silverstein,
the guy who had the museum where the Yeti was being housed.
First death of many.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's at least 25, 30 people who die in this serial.
Basically everyone. I lost count.
Pretty close, yeah.
Spoiler.
Children's show. So anyway, the people are like, what do you mean you don't know what's going on? It turns out the Yeti had shown up, and so this web stuff, it started taking over the tubes in the London Underground. And there's this one big line called the Circle Line that kind of goes around. I think it's kind of more or less follows the same path as one of their big loops around London, the M1 or something.
Like the Lubbock Loop?
Well, yeah, but much bigger. Think something like Euston's Grand Parkway they're doing. Like maybe just Beltway 8. Maybe just Beltway 8, yeah. Well, Euston has 610, then it has Beltway 8, Now they're doing the Grand Parkway at 99 outside of that.
Or Lubbock's 289.
Yeah, Lubbock's 289.
That's the only frame of reference I had.
Okay, so when they figure out that the kids know about the Yeti, they're like, well, wait a minute. What do you know about the Yeti? How do you know they're robots? How do you know this and that? And Victoria is listening to Travers, and she's like, wait a second. She goes, wait, I'm Victoria Waterfield. This is Jamie McCrimmon. Jamie, don't you recognize him? And he goes, it's Professor Travers. And Jamie looks at the guy and goes, oh, it is. You got old, didn't you? Because it's been 35 years for Travers and only been a few weeks for Jamie and Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
And Professor Travers is like, what? You haven't aged a day. So the time machine, it was all real, wasn't it? Yeah.
Do people age in the TARDIS? Or whilst traveling in the TARDIS?
Mm-hmm.
Or at all? They just age in real time?
Yeah, they age in, if they're 3 weeks in the TARDIS, it's 3 weeks. But
so in time relative to them, they're still aging.
Right, but much more
just
slowly.
Also slowly.
Yeah, much more slowly.
Huh.
We don't see any particular individual inside the TARDIS long enough to see them really age. Like the longest a companion stays with the Doctor is usually a couple of years, but usually not that long.
What's the longest Doctor we've had?
Tom Baker, the one with the scarf. He was the Doctor for 7 years.
7 years? We don't see him age?
Well, not really. I mean, he looks a smidgen older towards the end, but
I look way different from 7 years ago.
well, yeah, but you're what, 25?
You look way different from 7 years ago.
Mm.
Actually, I don't know. Do you?
I have no idea.
I probably met you about 7 years ago. You look the same.
Sometimes I shave. Sometimes I have a beard. Sometimes I weigh more. Sometimes I weigh less. Tom Baker looked about the same. But so anyway, Professor Travers is like, wait, they can help us because they helped me defeat the Yeti the last time. Mm-hmm. And he's like, where's the Doctor? And they're like, the Doctor? Oh yeah, because the Doctor was where they were going to set off a big explosion to stop the fungus stuff, the web stuff from moving.
And on vacation.
Well, the Doctor was where the stuff was going to explode, but the Yeti put a web over the dynamite and stuff so that it only exploded inside of that. It didn't actually take down the tunnel.
But still managed to knock the Doctor out?
Yep, knocked out the Doctor. So he wasn't there for the second week so he could have a holiday. So the second episode, no Doctor. Except that little smidgen at the beginning that was from the prior week.
They finally figured out how to cut the previous endings rather than retaping every beginning and ending.
Mm-hmm. And
so every recap was slightly different from when they
the Slingshottites is a good one. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so the Doctor manages to escape and he disappears for a week, an episode. That's fine. In the meantime,
it's not fine.
Huh?
It's not fine.
Everybody needs a holiday.
I was upset.
Jamie and Victoria are trying to find him. Also, Travers has a daughter, Anne, and she's a scientist too. And she's putting together gizmos for the government, trying to stop the Yeti. Apparently, the good guys are holed up in a fortress under Good Street. Good Street?
Good. G-O-O-D-G.
Good Street.
Good Street.
They'd hold up there, and this used to be a place in World War II where the troops would stop for the night. Mm-hmm. So they got a little headquarters down there. So, when do we bump into Evans?
Which one's Evans? Oh, the driver?
Yeah, the Hanyak Welsh.
About the same
coward.
time as the Brigadier. Because Evans was the Brigadier's driver, so about episode 3.
Mike Evans comes in late episode 2 and Brigadier episode 3. Alright, so everybody's looking for everybody. Everybody's trying to catch up to everybody. They're all looking for the doctor.
Scooby-Doo scenes where they're running through the hallway doors.
In the meantime, the fungus, the web is going further and further to encircle the line. Because apparently, it's a big trap to get the doctor and everybody down there and get them all trapped.
It's a trap.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what Admiral Akbar would say. It's a trap.
Okay, so this guy Evans shows up, and he's this Welsh coward, Hanyak, who turns out to be the driver who brought all this stuff to Holland or the other base that they had run a line to.
Oh, I don't know the name of the base. The telephone line, yeah.
Yeah, the telephone line.
So, a few soldiers, supplies, the brigadier.
Yeah.
All got separated.
Yeah, he's a corporal currently. He becomes a brigadier later, but yeah.
What? Do we know his name?
Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. Lethbridge Stewart. It's hyphenated.
Lethbridge Stewart. That's his last name?
Mm-hmm. In Scotland, your first...
Scottish?
Yeah. And he shows up in a kilt later on. In Scotland, you'll have your clan, and then you'll have the family within the clan. So the clan is Lethbridge, and the family is Stewart. Oh. So that's why the hyphen. So anyway, episode 3, the only episode that's still missing, because the whole thing was missing, all 6 episodes. And then this guy was traveling the world looking for Doctor Who episodes, and he found 12 of them. The 6 from the previous serial we watched, the Enemy of the World, and the 6 from this serial. And supposedly, while he was collecting them, he had all 12 of them there, and then somebody absconded with the 3rd episode. Which is sad, because it's the very first appearance of the Brigadier. Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, who becomes a big-time Doctor Who companion down the line. Eventually, the Doctor gets stranded.
The second Scottish companion.
After Jamie. Yeah.
A lot of Scottish companions.
Well, they're part of the United Kingdom, too.
We don't have a single Welsh companion.
Well, we do later on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Alright. So.
American companion?
Yeah.
Alien companion?
Yeah. And a cyborg.
Or K9?
K9's a robot. No, cyborg, but there's a cyborg robot thingy too.
Ghost companion.
Ghost companion. No, we do get the head of a Cyberman as a companion. His name is Handles.
That's pretty much it. Because of his head.
We do get him as a companion for one episode.
There you go.
It's a very, time-wise, it's a very long episode. But
a one-episode companion.
That's
not legal.
No, later on there are a few of them. Especially during the specials.
For one the specials.
The specials, okay.
That might be an exception.
Yeah, well, it's a Christmas special when he does that. Alright,
do they break the 3rd wall and say cheers into the camera again, like Hartnell?
No, it's the only time they've ever done that, was during the first Doctor. But later on, the Christmas specials are kind of silly. Kind of like the Simpsons Halloween specials.
I like this.
Yeah. You know it's going to be different. You know it's going to be super silly, but it's going to be fun. And that's what they are. So
like the Simpsons Halloween specials are like non-canon.
Well,
are like the Doctor Who.
Yeah, the Simpsons stuff is it's not part of the main storyline. Yeah. But Doctor Who, it is part of the main storyline. Okay. But you expect it to be a lot more frivolous. Okay. That's the word, frivolous.
But no more 3rd wall, 4th wall breaks.
No, there's one with superheroes.
Oh, that's cool. What would be your superpower, Hatter?
I don't know. No clue.
You know what I think is a great superpower? Stopping time.
That'd be cool.
Because who cares if you're super fast if you can just stop time? Or you can be invisible by stopping time? Or, you know what? You can stay up all night, stop time, sleep for 8 hours. Boom. You'll lose no time. No time in the day lost.
Correct.
I wish I could do that every morning. Like, man, I could use another 2 hours
to sleep. Yeah. But, okay, back to the story.
Better than flying.
I'd agree with that.
Speed and visibility.
Alright, so back to the story. So the Brigadier shows up, episode 3, and he says, I'm taking over. I was sent here by headquarters. And, of course, he outranks Knight.
And he has the official papers,
documents
for
letters of accreditation,
leaving command and taking charge of the post.
Right. So he takes over. He takes over and relieves Knight of command, and he suspects the Doctor a bit.
As you do.
As you do. But he's willing
suspicious.
But he's willing to believe the Doctor's story about the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. He's like, sure. Let's see.
That is odd.
Yeah. In the meantime, Yeti have broken into headquarters.
To sabotage the explosives.
Yeah, to sabotage the explosives, and they take away Travers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Brigadier... I think we're on episode 4. In the meantime, about 10 people have died.
So many people.
Yeah.
Very violent deaths.
Yeah. So the Brigadier decides to take the rest of the men, including Evans.
All of them.
All of them. No, except Evans.
Not Evans. Evans a coward.
Yeah, Evans a coward.
He stayed guard.
Well, no, at this point, I think Staff Sergeant Arnold takes Evans and Lane.
Oh, for covering the TARDIS.
The cart, yeah, to get the TARDIS, because the Brigadier believes the Doctor about the TARDIS that could get him out of there. The Doctor is staying behind to work on this gizmo gadget to control the spheres, the controlling spheres, to help try and control the Yeti with Anne.
Yes.
Travers has already been taken away. Jamie and Victoria stay with the Doctor, and then the Brigadier takes all the other men except Knight, and the 3 that are going with the cart, and he's taking them above ground to go across and through so he can get down to Covent Garden to try and rescue the TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, they end up meeting a whole bunch of Yeti.
So many Yetis.
So many Yeti. They are surrounded by the Yeti. They fight their way, or try to fight their way out. And while they're doing that, most of the men die. In fact, there's at least 12 or 15 deaths in this episode alone.
Yeah.
If not more. A very short period of time.
To be fair, they got several of the Yetis. They took most of the grenades.
Yeah. Grenades work well.
Only one got shot between the
eyes. That takes care of the Yetis.
Which I guess they're not great shots. They weren't even aiming. They're just firing all over the place.
And was the missile launcher?
Yeah.
That took out. The bazooka took out a couple.
And then he just kind of sat there. I don't know if he was trying to reload.
But something. Yeah.
He got webbed. He got shot with the web gun. Yeah,
the web gun kills you. It's bad. But yeah, so the Yeti, the best thing against them is grenades. So they all get wiped out except the Brigadier, who barely manages to escape.
Barely.
But right now, Colonel. Staff Sergeant Arnold and his guy, Lane, are trying to take the cart through the webbing, and they die. And you've got poor Evans, he runs away. In the meantime, Crowley had locked the Doctor in. he found out about the TARDIS and he'd run off looking for it.
Yeah, the reporter.
Yeah, the reporter. He was such a Hanyak. Little weasel of a guy. Huh?
Chorley.
That's it.
Chorley.
I think I call him Crowley, but Chorley. So then Travers shows up at the end of episode 4 with the Yeti after everyone who's still alive makes it back to headquarters. Brigadier, Evans, Dr. Jamie, Victoria, and Anne. Miss Travers. The last one's left, and then Travers comes in with the Yeti, and the Great Intelligence is speaking through his mouth.
Very creepily.
Yeah, very creepily.
A lot of wheezing and gasping.
Oh, he talks like
The
this.
intelligence is not great at breathing.
He's not an orator. Yeah. Okay, so the Great Intelligence tells the doctor, okay, I've got a machine. It's taken me 35 years to lay this trap. But I have you trapped, and it's all a big trap, and that's why I controlled your TARDIS up in space, was to get you here. And I've closed the trap, and now you're mine, and I'm going to drain your mind of all of its knowledge and all of your knowledge, and you will be like a foundling child, and I will have all this knowledge.
No one's ever been able to trap the TARDIS before. Mid-jump. Just in space.
It is breached a time or two, but only later on, but only by really powerful forces.
But that's why it's like already stationary. Like the Daleks were following it.
No.
They're gonna trap it.
It's in hyperspace at one point, and something manages to get in.
Oh.
Just a projection, but that's a lot.
But actually just snare it mid-jump.
And then later on, a stupid, what's it called? Yahoo Man?
What?
Alright, Kablam. A Kablam man gets in. It's a delivery system like Amazon.
Oh.
In the show, it doesn't exist in real life. But, you know, you could argue the TARDIS had been set to allow it in. But yeah, every once in a while something will breach into the TARDIS, but it's very rare.
But no one's ever just snared it.
No, not generally. Not out of space. Occasionally, the Time Lords will yank the TARDIS and do something with it. Redirect it. Dangerous, but they have the technology.
Do you think that's where self-driving cars are going? Just full automation of... Police are just going to be able to stop you.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so freaky. You're going somewhere in your self-driving car.
Just pulls over.
And then it pulls over and the police pull you over and they like, we're arresting you. Or yeah, the car just takes you to the police station.
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay, we got you. We know you're in this car. We can see you on the cam. The doors lock and the car takes you to the police station.
It's gonna happen.
I would not be surprised at all if it did.
Already, cars are so automated. Your phones are automated. You can't even control what's happening with your cell phone. Like you jump in the car, automatically it turns off your notifications, driving mode. You have to swipe. I'm not driving to be able to use your phone. Is that an Android thing or just iPhones?
I don't know. I don't have an iPhone, but
your
I don't know
iPhone
why
senses the
you would do
movement. Well, it's just in general, like so, like cars are going to do the same thing. Like the Tesla. The Tesla has the self-driving thing, but it says, you know, keep your hands on the steering wheel. And if you go, well, I don't want to, it just pulls over and it shuts off your self-driving. It says, time out. Not for the rest of the day. You don't get any more automated driving.
What?
That's what happens in the Tesla. It has a self-driving feature. It will drive itself. It sets it follows the lanes and everything, but it tells you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel.
What if you want to drive
Just
with your
grab-
knee?
Oh, it shuts it off. It says no more.
What?
You take your hands off and it'll beep at you. It beeps more at you. It's like you gotta keep your hands on the steering wheel. If you don't put your hands back on the steering wheel, it'll turn on your hazards and it'll pull to the side of the road. And then it'll tell you no more self-driving for the rest of your
I'm
trip.
not into that. All right. Like a good
You
old
gotta drive
fashioned-
yourself now.
There you go. I like driving myself. Someday I won't be able to, probably, but.
Someday will be, probably not in our lifetimes, because people would say the same thing about automatic versus manual gear shifts, and there's still plenty of manuals around. So there's going to be more and more autonomous cars, but self-drive cars are going to be around for the next 100 years at least before it really turns over to fully automated.
Nicholas Tesla actually shows up in an episode of Doctor Who.
I like Tesla.
You're going to be waiting a while to see this one.
Yeah.
It aired last week.
He's my favorite scientist.
Really?
Tesla coils are cool. They put like music frequencies into the Tesla coils, and it's really cool. It like shocks out the
notes.
I don't know how it works. It's just cool to watch.
I don't know. All right.
Pretty cool stuff.
Okay. So
He's a real scientist. Not like this Einstein guy.
Nothing wrong with Einstein. All right. So, so the Great Intelligence gives the Doctor an ultimatum. You submit, I will drain out your entire intelligence, and then I will.
There's no copy and paste function. You can't just copy it. You just takes it.
Essentially, yeah. Yeah.
You can't just make a photocopy.
Right.
Just clicks and drags and leaves the original folder empty.
Essentially. But so the Doctor has to submit, and if he does that, the Great Intelligence will get all his knowledge. The Doctor is like, well, what if I don't? And he's like, well, I'll start with your companions, and I will kill them, and I'll keep killing more people. So the Doctor's like, okay. And the Great Intelligence gives him 20 minutes to make up his mind. And Travers takes Victoria. Well, the Great Intelligence, speaking to Travers, takes Victoria and the Yeti, and they leave. So the Doctor starts working on this remote control thing with Miss Travers and they're working on it. And about 8 minutes in, they get the Yeti ball working, the control ball. And then about another 12 minutes, they get the controller, a voice-activated controller, to control the control ball and have the Yeti do what they want it to do. But it only works at a very short range, about this far.
No, the voice control is fine. It's just the manual
The manual
stop.
control, yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah. So the Yeti have to be like literally on top of them.
Yeah.
So they start heading.
He uses a sonic screwdriver to dig
No,
the
he
ball out
doesn't.
and put the new ball in.
No, he doesn't.
It's like the fourth appearance of the sonic screwdriver.
No. There are other tools. The sonic screwdriver appears next serial.
Can we talk about how the sonic screwdriver is not a screwdriver?
No, it is.
It can't drive any screws. It's like a bulbous.
No. You'll see it next serial.
Is it a Phillips head or a flat head?
No. It turns the screws sonically.
Oh.
It actually screws and unscrews.
Sonic.
Originally, it is a screwdriver before it does all the other stuff, and it screws and unscrews screws with sound.
Does it still?
I would guess so. I don't think he's used it in a long time.
It's like the Spy Kids where they get your super spy watch and it does absolutely everything.
Except it doesn't
tell time. And then their rivals show up and they have the Mark II,
where it tells time.
which does everything including tells time.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, the Doctor finishes this control thing, so he controls Yeti. And then he finds the Yeti and it comes after them, and the Doctor stops it with the control deal. And they put their good orb, control orb, into the Yeti and take out the other one. Yeah. Switch them. And so that Yeti is listening to the Doctor. And the Doctor then says, well, wait a minute. We don't know who the bad guy is, you know? Oh, in the meantime, Arnold had shown back up. Staff Sergeant Arnold.
Yes. Awfully beat up and bruised.
Really beat up and bruised. He's like, man, I don't know. I woke up and they were like, okay, we thought you were lost. So the Doctor then takes, he says, well, we still don't know who the bad guy is yet. Because the Travers speaking as the Great Intelligence, said he had many hands amongst them. So he tells the Yeti to turn off for 90 seconds and then listen to what the Great Intelligence tells him to do until such a point as they tell him to do something else.
Mm-hmm. So, and in his infinite wisdom, the Doctor decided not to mark the Yeti that he took control of. So he had no idea how to tell it.
Apart from the others. Now, remember, he marked the good Daleks.
The Daleks,
Alpha, Beta, and Omega. He wrote on them.
But not the Yeti.
The Yeti have fur.
He could have done something.
I don't know.
But these big old windshield wiper. He just carries chalk on him.
Oh, and there's slightly updated versions of the Yeti.
Headlights.
So there's slightly updated versions of the Yeti. But anyway, so the Doctor then gives the control to...
That's because they got a new costume designer. Because the BBC was mad at the guy that made the Macroterra because he kept coming short on the costumes.
So
I think he was the one that made the Yetis. But they didn't like it. They didn't like his costume.
No, I think the Yeti was afterwards.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Okay. So anyway, so then the Doctor gives the controller to Jamie. But the Doctor still, he had the voice controller, but the Doctor still has the Stop the Yeti controller.
Stopbox.
So the Yeti come after the Doctor, he stops the two of them with the stopbox. They give him this helmet he has to put on, which is going to drain all his knowledge, and he switches around some wires.
Reverses the polarity.
Yeah.
And his official terminology was the helmet thingy.
The helmet thingy. He switched some wires in the helmet thingy. But yeah, he reverses the polarity. But he doesn't say it in this case, though.
I switched the wires in the helmet thingy.
Yes. So the Doctor goes. To with the Yeti that he had momentarily stopped after he switched the wires, and he goes to meet the Great Intelligence, and everyone else is already there, except Jamie. Got corralled. They all eventually meet up, and they're there.
This whole web was just closing in on them tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
If you ever play Fortnite,
never played it, but
Apex, Player Unknown. There are all these it's called Battle Royale games, and it starts on this really big battlefield with like 100 people. And just constantly the borders are closing in on itself, so it gets smaller and smaller as more and more people die. And eventually, you're just left in this little space with like the last two people.
It's a good movie, Battle Royale.
I haven't seen it.
The Hunger Games is based on it.
The Hunger Games is like
Well, yeah, no, I mean the Hunger Games had all this other plot outside of it. Battle Royale is pretty much just a fight. Alright, Japanese movie.
Those last two movies could just be one.
Yeah.
They always split the last book into 2 parts. It doesn't need it.
They keep doing that.
Or The Hobbit, where they split one book into 3 parts.
It was only supposed to be 2.
Just because all that added GoPro footage they put.
And the romance between the dwarf and the elf, and the new female elf character they had to add because she was in Lost, and they had to have a romance between her and the dwarf. It was sickening.
Somehow they made 3-hour-long movies. I fell asleep in the second one.
The Hobbit?
The Hobbit, yeah. The second Hobbit, where something about Sauron and the wizards, Radagast.
Radagast. Yeah. Who is played by the 7th Doctor. Radagast is the 7th Doctor. Right there. Top, upper right. No, not him. No. Up. The guy at the very top. Him. He's the 7th Doctor and he plays Radagast.
Oh.
Radagast the Brown.
Sounds like a poop. It's a terrible name for a wizard.
Yeah, but that's it. He plays Radagast.
They're not all named after colors.
Gandalf the Grey, Gandalf the White, Sauron the White,
but the lady, the elf,
she's not a wizard.
She not?
No.
Oh. I guess
the wizards are all men.
They just had 3.
Yeah. Well.
I thought there.
No.
Oh, there's a blue one.
There's two
that just took off.
There are two that are mentioned that are not in the films.
They just left.
Yeah, but I think there's
wizards in like Lord of the Rings lore, are just like this whole alien species that are they're not even normal people.
But there's 3 elf king. There's the One Ring. Then there's the 3 for the elves. Then there's the 5 wizards. They don't get rings, but
red and blue. I think it was that just took off.
Yeah. Then there's 7 dwarfs and 9 men.
9.
Yeah, and who become the Nazgul. So anyway, okay. So
all throughout,
you are so bad at this.
All throughout RPGs and lore and medieval fantasy themes, it's always men and mankind are the most easily corruptible because of their greed and their. Well, what's up with other races? Like, are they not corruptible? Like, what's so great about elves is they're not. They're vain. Dwarves are greedy. Why don't they turn into Nazgul?
I think it comes down to the short lifespan of humans. Alright. So the doctor then...
Do dwarves live longer than men? I know elves do.
Yes.
I'm gonna make my own world. And humans are gonna be the bomb. They're gonna be the best race to play in my RPG D&D campaign. And they're gonna be the longest lived ones too, because the other races are gonna be like flymen, and they'll live for like 24 hours. They're gonna be the easily corruptible ones.
Well, there's a line somewhere in Doctor Who, I forget which doctor says it.
I just feel like humans get the shorter end of the stick. They're making all the new races, and they're just all better than humans.
Well, humans better overall.
That's just a jack of all trades, master of none. All anyone ever plays, though, is a human. In World of Warcraft, that's all I've ever played. Because for like a RPG immersive experience, I want to play the human character because I want to picture myself as the character. I don't want to be immersed. I can't do that with an elf. I'm not an elf. Maybe if I was real short and stocky, I'd play a dwarf.
No, there's a line in one of the Doctor Who episodes that I'm paraphrasing here, I can't remember the exact line, but they're gadflies on some planet that live for only 3 hours. And they don't even mate for life. Wow. Okay. Alright, so anyway. The doctor shows up and submits. And so the Great Intelligence shows himself, and it's Staff Sergeant Arnold.
In the form of, we still never see the intelligence manifested physically, because in the first...
he doesn't.
The first Empyrean, the first serial of the Abominable Snowmen, the Yetis, and the Great Intelligence, the whole plot point was how they're trying to get these power triangles together so he could manifest physically. And then they sabotage the triangles, and he's not able to take a...
Well, it was the pyramid. Remember, it was the pyramid.
But in this one, he just gave up on that. He just absorbed the mind of lesser men. He didn't even try to manifest.
When he does that in the first one, when he was controlling the head of the head of the place, remember? He controlled him and kept him alive forever. Yeah,
but he's using that guy to further his scheme of manifesting.
Right, but he was still controlling him. And in the same way later on, he controls Staff Sergeant Arnold.
Yeah, but he's not trying to manifest physically.
No. He's not trying to do that. He's trying to get all the doctor's information. Okay. And later on, the Great Intelligence shows up again. And but he doesn't have a Yeti. He uses snowmen.
The actual abominable snowman.
No. Like snowman. Yeah.
Because this one left on a cliffhanger. Where the Great Intelligence is still out there.
Okay. So So the doctor succumbs and says, okay, I'll do this. He gets in the little pyramid thing. And the bad guy's like, you seem a little eager to do this. And the doctor's like, no, I just want to get it over with. And then Jamie yells into his thing, attack Yeti, attack the Yetis. And so the good guy Yeti, who's controlled by Jamie at this point, starts attacking the other Yetis and beating him up. And he's like, attack Arnold. And so the Yeti goes and attacks and kills Staff Sergeant Arnold.
He's just burnt to a crisp
for
some reason.
Burnt to a crisp. And the doctor's like, no, leave me in here. And they're like, no, we gotta save you. And they pull the doctor out and they save him. And the doctor's like, no, now the great intelligence is still out there. And they're like, what, you would have been lost all your memory. He said, no, I reversed the wires and I would have absorbed all of his memories and we could have gotten rid of him. And it was like, no. So then we find out Charlie Kraut, what's his name? Chorley is still alive.
Chortle.
You know, the stupid reporter guy who's really
we've
annoying.
known he's still alive.
Yeah, for a little bit. But yeah, the stupid reporter guy is so annoying. He's still alive.
Just as annoying.
And Evans is there, and he's somehow alive. The Welsh coward.
They all got corralled.
All got corralled together. So then Charlie starts going, well, you saved the world, Doctor. And he starts asking questions. Doctor's like, nope, I'm out of here.
Yeah, household name.
Yeah, household name by morning and all this stuff. So the doctor grabs Jamie and Victoria and they start running to find the TARDIS. And Jamie's like, wait, what's the rush? And the doctor's like, well, we don't know when they're going to turn the trains back on. And they're down in the tunnels like, ah. And that's where it ends. They haven't found the TARDIS yet, but I'm sure they did.
Next week, Fury of the Deep.
The Fury of the Deep.
The Furry Deep.
Where you finally can see the sonic screwdriver.
The sonic screwdriver. I've seen it like 4 times.
No, you have not, sir.
Well, I finally get to see it sonically.
And he calls it the sonic screwdriver.
Yeah. He just hasn't referred
No.
to it.
All right, what questions do you have?
All of them. What does the first one look like? Just a regular screwdriver? Or does it look like the weird wand bulbous thing?
It looks a bit like the weird wand thing.
Alright. Questions. I wrote down this question, and then they alluded to it in the first episode. They said, why is I noted the Doctor's partiality to Earth and humans, like every other serial, now even more so, like every 2 out of 3 serials are on Earth. The majority of his companions are humans. Other than his
he does have a
niece and
right. No, his granddaughter.
That's about it. His granddaughter.
Right.
So that's about it.
Well, it's hinted at that she's a Time Lord, although it's never explicitly stated.
So she might also be human.
Well, we don't know. Okay.
She might be something. What is this home planet?
Gallifrey. Yep. We're led to believe that she was his granddaughter, and that his actual granddaughter, and that she was human.
She is.
Oh, sorry, not human, but that she was a Time Lord. In theory, it's
they didn't really establish the lore by then.
No, the Time Lord lore doesn't come in really until like the 3rd Doctor, so very, very, very end of the 2nd Doctor.
They haven't even called him the Time Lord yet.
Correct.
I think, did they refer to Gallifrey?
They've referred to Gallifrey.
They haven't named it, but he referred to his homeworld.
He referred to Gallifrey.
He called it Gallifrey?
I think it's been called Gallifrey, but...
he hasn't referred to his race.
Right. He's just the Doctor. He hasn't referred to the Time Lord yet.
Did he mention something about his biology, though? He said something about a heart, multiple hearts.
Yeah, I think the 2 hearts thing has come up. I think. Okay, so... but yeah, he also has a guy later on, Turbo.
The very first episode, he didn't have a heartbeat. Where, not Steven. Who's the first companion?
Ian,
they're looking for...
Barbara.
And Ian comes in, and Hartnell's laying on the ground, and he listens to his chest, and he's like, there's no heartbeat. And he gets up and he's...
I don't think that was the first episode.
I thought that was the pilot.
No, that might have been in the first serial.
Maybe.
During, the caveman.
The caveman, it might have been.
But the very first episode, they leave towards the end of the episode. And we don't see the caveman until the second episode. But anyway.
Talking about the partiality of Earth and humans, how most of his adventures are on Earth. Yeah. All his companions are human for the most part. And then he alluded to that in this episode. They showed up on Earth again, and he turns to Jamie. He's like, oddly that we're on your planet again.
Well, in this case, the Great Intelligence specifically brought them there.
Yes.
He even neglected the TARDIS and brought them there. But yeah, the Earth becomes the Doctor's favorite planet, especially after his is destroyed. Spoilers.
Earth is destroyed?
No, Gallifrey.
Oh, spoilers.
Spoilers. And
it's like Superman.
And he really comes to enjoy and feel a kinship with Earth and Earthlings.
But not yet.
Well, he already has to a great extent. And
he likes his companions. Did he ever have companions before his granddaughter?
We don't know. Supposedly not.
Maybe he just got lonely.
Well, no. No, what happened... Wait. What happens is it's retconned later that he and his granddaughter steal the TARDIS. So, his granddaughter was his first companion.
They stole a real janky one, too.
Yeah, they did.
Some broken things.
Well, no, it was in the repair shop. They still have the repair shop, but yeah, they steal it, and so his granddaughter was his first companion, and then they pick up Ian and Barbara. So that whole loop is kind of closed.
After like 300 years.
We don't know exactly how.
Because he has a 300-year journal.
Yeah, we don't know exactly how. But no, it's just easier to film on Earth because we're here,
That's true. Well, it makes sense. They use sets regardless if they're on Earth or not, really.
It's just easier to make sets for Earth, and, all the other planets look like they're a quarry because they're actually in a quarry. It's crazy. Alright, what's the next question?
Travers reactivated the Yeti. But how does he know how it works? He spent 30 years just reverse engineering it. They're just pressing.
Oh, a little Yeti ball. Well, yeah. I mean, he studied the technology for 30 years off and on. Finally, he figured out how to make it work.
He started off as a scientist, like an explorer, expeditioner,
right? Archaeologist kind of guy,
looking for Yetis, like actual biological animals.
Yeah.
And then he turned into a professor who all of a sudden studies robotics, science, engineering.
Well, yeah, if you come across those things and you realize they can exist, you're going to study them.
Major real quick.
Well, okay, especially back then when there weren't as many fields to study. We're talking about the 1930s, 40s. You're going to get into different lines of study because they're not as deep as they are now.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I ever tell you about my second D&D campaign experience? It's terrible. I'm totally put off to D&D because I end up with the worst DMs. And it was this this 2-hour-long game session where the first hour of it is just he spent all this time designing this puzzle and this interface, and none of us had a high enough intelligence, so it's just guessing for like an hour. Well, let me try pressing this button, and he rolls. And he goes, no, nothing happens. Let me try expecting. Let me press this shape. Roll. Nothing happens.
Oh my gosh.
So now I just think Dungeons and Dragons is the most boring experience. But I know there's fun to be had because I've heard stories. I just don't know how to get into it.
Poor DM.
Yeah. You didn't know how to lead the adventure group.
Wait, how the hell did you go from Dark to Blue?
That's what I think of Travis, how he has this,
Tavers.
Tavers.
Professor
It is this technology designed by the Great Intelligence, and he's just sitting here for 30 years, like he doesn't know the pattern to the Rubik's Cube. He's like, well, maybe I press this button. And then all of a sudden, oops, I turned it on. It's like, what do you expect? it leads to, you know, tons of people dying. Half of London being just shut down and engulfed in a fog. And
well,
evacuated.
But
he's having this huge guilt problem. He's like, this is all my doing. And you know, Victoria's a real sweetheart. She's like, it's not your fault. But it is his fault. He's just
no. He didn't do any of the bad things. The great intelligence did the bad things. He just allowed. He was the catalyst.
Yeah. The cause.
The catalyst.
Yeah. You got the ball rolling.
Oh.
He uncaged the lion. He's like, what happens if I figure out this pin lock and then...
That was a perfectly bad...
I let the lion out. What did you think was going to happen?
That was a perfectly bad pun. He got the ball rolling.
Yeah, he sure
literally
did. And then,
okay, what's the next question? Oh my
gosh. Episode 2, I fell asleep.
That wasn't the reconstruction. The reconstruction was episode 3.
I almost fell asleep during the reconstruction, but Lissa was sitting there staring at me. I was like, hey.
This is my wife. She occasionally joins us to watch the episodes now.
So Lissa kept me up.
And she's a really big fan of the Brigadier, so.
Yes. The reporter, Chorley, runs off.
Trying to get to the TARDIS.
Trying to get to the TARDIS because he's a coward. He's trying to escape. At the point where the Brigadier, later on in the serial, the Brigadier takes them in to try to recover the TARDIS.
Yeah,
they tell the Doctor that, and he's like, oh, they're wasting their time because, like, what are they going to do with the TARDIS? They can't get into it. They don't know how.
Oh, they're going to try to bring it back to the Doctor.
He's like, they're wasting their time. But when Chorley leaves to try to get into the TARDIS to escape, he's super worried about it. Like, he's actually going to do something. Like, he doesn't know. It's locked, right? He can't get into it. Why do they go chasing after Chorley to try to stop him from getting to the TARDIS if he can't get into it or do anything with it?
I think he was afraid Victoria told him how to get in and told him how to operate the TARDIS.
But does Victoria know? She doesn't have a key. She doesn't know. Because Hartnell, he has that one key, and you need the key, and he handed it off to other companions, but Victoria doesn't have a key.
You remember when Hartnell opened it up with his ring?
Yeah. Right? Well, there's like different ways, but it's locked. Like, it has a security system.
True, but we don't know if Victoria has a key or not.
Okay.
We don't know that. We don't know...
Well, if Victoria has the key... She didn't give it to Chorley.
Well,
why are they worried about Chorley giving
but
it to her?
We also don't know if...
Is there a pin lock?
Well, I mean, Jamie has been figuring out the TARDIS, because remember, he shut the doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Observant.
Yeah, you can be observant and start to figure the thing out. Although, she's a little scatterbrained to do that, you know?
To be fair, Salamander
got him to... Yeah,
he got in and took off when...
But that's it. Salamander got them to start it up. So obviously Jamie and or Victoria know a bit of how to do the TARDIS.
But I don't know why they're worried about Shirley finding the TARDIS if he couldn't even get into it.
I think it was a plot device.
I guess so.
What's next?
This is a funny one. Why is the Doctor... I didn't finish that question. I'm going to follow this. The Great Intelligence says that the Doctor's mind surpasses all other creatures.
Yes.
Do we ever find someone? Does that mean including the Great Intelligence? Is that he's not really a creature?
Assumably, yes.
Do we ever find someone who's an intellectual match or superior to the Doctor?
The Master.
The Master. Who's another Time Lord?
Who's another Time Lord?
Does that mean all Time Lords are sort of on par? Like the Council would be on par with the Doctor? Or is he like just an especially woody Time Lord?
Okay. Alright. It's established that the Doctor was not great in school. Okay? Wasn't great in school.
Albert Einstein.
Right, Albert Einstein. The school may have been too slow for him, right?
Wrong curriculum.
Right. But it's also established that he's incredibly clever. And that he is, even amongst Time Lords, very intelligent. And it's hinted at later. It's hinted at that he might be greater than he it might have been one of the original Time Lords.
Oh, so he's...
That's never straight up established, though. But it starts to be hinted at during the Sylvester McCoy, i.e. Radagast era.
Radagast the Brown.
Radagast the Brown's era.
Radagast the poop.
But yeah.
So he could be on his, 100th regeneration for all we know.
Okay.
Or do regenerations, could he have just taken one and been the original and lasted a really long time?
Oh, that's possible.
And then regenerated into Hartnell.
Here's the problem. There's one serial down the line where they supposedly show past regenerations of the Doctor. And it keeps going back further than the first Doctor. But after that, it's pretty much ignored. So, and when you do the numbering counting, the first Doctor is always the first Doctor. Hartnell is always the first Doctor.
So that's of his current set of regenerations.
Well, generally the Time Lords only get the one set, although later on exceptions are made.
Especially for during the original Time War.
Well, especially during the Time War, and especially for the Master, and later on for the Doctor. In theory, the Doctor may have taken up the name at a certain point and then become the Doctor at that juncture. He may have had lives before that. In reality, there are only hints at that are never established, and odds are the Doctor was literally the first incarnation. Because we have hints at other things, but nothing concrete.
So he could possibly maybe be the greatest Time Lord of all time.
In theory, but mostly he's just a survivor, and while the other Time Lords stay on Gallifrey and do their own thing because they don't care about the rest of the universe, he's the guy out there doing great things for the universe.
Which is why he's so intelligent, because he's out there
keeping his mind sharp.
Experience.
Right. He's leveling up in the other Time Lords' arms. Oh, man.
How do they know which Yeti is which? They don't.
They don't.
Oh, so why did the intelligence choose Yetis as his minions? Because they had, in Tibet, actual Yetis. And then he made robot Yetis.
Right.
To sort of, in disguise, blend in as the other Yetis.
Yeah.
Which isn't, especially covert or inconspicuous, because Yetis themselves are very rare and they stick out.
Apparently not for that area in Tibet.
Yes.
He was trying to work with people whose minds were clear, as the monks' minds in the monastery were clear. He can establish a foothold there more easily. And the Yeti were a way to keep the monks in the monastery where he could control them. So that's why he did the whole things with the Yeti. And after that, who knows how many centuries it took him to get all that established, how old that guy was. After that, well, why not go ahead and just keep using the Yeti? Besides, they already had the costumes,
Well, he went ahead and redesigned the whole robotic structure. He made the Mark II Yetis with the big old headlights,
eyes,
which don't even look like real Yetis anymore.
It's the same thing. It's like a car.
But
it's easy to redesign the outside.
He just puts the fur over it and it makes it look like a Yeti again. I don't know. It's not very conspicuous.
But they are built more like linebackers and less like bowling pins. Remember the original bowling pins?
The big old apple.
That's a bowling pin.
Bubble butt. Those thighs for days.
Yeah, these Yetis are much scarier. Much scarier.
Yeah, I like it. I like the redesign.
Yeah.
The other ones came to life.
And you actually got to see these. Yeah. Because the other one was a reconstruction.
That's true. More than just still images.
Alright. Any more questions?
The intelligence is still out there.
Yes. Now, and he does come back much later.
This brings us to another moral quandary of the Doctor.
Quandary.
Is that what I said?
I think you said quandary.
Conjuring moral quandaries.
Okay.
Conjured yet another moral quandary of the Doctor and his own, perhaps maybe selfish ambitions He set himself up in a way to where he was going to absorb the great intelligence instead of the great intelligence absorbing him.
Correct.
Which, is not only going to eliminate the threat, he's not only going to get rid of this threat to humanity, but he's also going to better himself. He's going to improve his own intelligence. He's going to become more powerful by absorbing the great intelligence. Now, does this speak to his own ambitions to become a more superior being? And we had possibly one of the most volatile reactions we've ever seen out of the Doctor, especially Troughton's generation of the Doctor. Now, Hartnell was a little bit more grumpy, a little bit more harsh, but Troughton is a very laid-back, silly, relaxed person. But we saw him freak out when Jamie interfered with his plans to absorb the great intelligence. He was upset. He's like, "You ruined it! You ruined it! I was going to absorb him."
Well, you have to believe that the motives are altruistic. You can't.
Yeah, but why though? So
because he wanted to eliminate the threat, and maybe he'd leave the great intelligence as that sort of nebulous gas cloud, and maybe it would grow up good this time. But yeah. Maybe, but the whole point was he was trying to eliminate the threat so he wouldn't have to deal with it again.
Or maybe we put ourselves in the shoes of the great intelligence who sees the Doctor as a threat to humanity, and he's trying to eliminate the Doctor as a threat. It's really depends on whose side you're on.
Well, I don't know about the great intelligence who brings death and havoc wherever he goes, but
maybe he's thinking of the greater good. Maybe he's doing it all just to secure peace.
Nah. You don't secure peace by killing a bunch of people who are innocent.
That's what
which
the
he
Empire
did for
did.
London.
It worked out for the Empire. Darth Vader controlled the guy. If it weren't for those rebels, they would have no more war.
Alright. Do you have any other questions?
No, that's it.
Okay. Look, it didn't take us 2 hours this time.
It sure didn't.
Hopefully, maybe an hour.
I'm not quite as
drunk. Neither am I.
This last time.
Okay.
I was awfully sleepy, which apparently is just as bad for driving.
Yeah.
If not worse.
It's fine. We have a guest room you can stay there. All right. Next time, Fury from the Deep. Which is
deep.
Fury from the Deep.
Fury.
Okay, we're gonna watch reconstructions.
Yay! How many?
Well, I think all of them. Yeah, they're all reconstructions.
6?
Yeah, 6 episodes, all reconstructions. Now, this is one of the ones that's currently being animated. So, in theory, if we wanted to wait 8 months for it to come out, we could do that.
I don't know how we'd make up the time.
Yeah. Well, we do have 2 of the serials that we've watched that have now been animated.
So that's 2 weeks out of 8 months.
Okay. The Macro Terror. Well, sorry, 1. The Macro Terror.
We have the Macro Terror.
And soon the Faceless One should be coming out.
And the Hartnell movie.
And we have the Hartnell biography, yeah. But
and the Faceless Ones. So that's 3
that's
weeks.
still only 3 weeks. So we're probably just going to watch it in reconstruction. And then later on, when we finish the second Doctor, go back and do cleanup on those other things. So hopefully next week, Fury from the Deep. Fury from the Deep. And it's got some really cool stuff to it. See the sonic screwdriver. Also, we didn't do this last week because I showed you Blade Runner 2049, and that was cool.
Yeah, that's true. That was last week. The week before was. That's
week before we did this, and you got smashed.
I was so smashed.
All right, Eric. We'll hope we see you next week for Fury from the Deep. Have a great time, and bye bye.